Hello everyone, Uneasy Guy here. Today we're just going to make a quick two-part video series that talks about using Flask Restful to create an API. Then we're going to go first here and design that locally, run it, show that everything works. In video 2, we're going to fire up a Google VM instance. We're going to SSH our files over there. Then we're going to set up Forever to restart it in case our app ever fails. We're going to set up RC local so that if the server restarts, it will restart our app. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and head over to Google Sheets and just show that we can access it remotely. Why you might want to do that from Google Sheets: if you're using an API that returns maybe datetime objects funny in AppScript, but you can get them properly in Python, you could do something like this, or you're just more comfortable using Python, or ultimately maybe you just need a REST API. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. Right now I have two files here saved, and the first is going to be our app.py, and the second is going to be where we make our GET request to return our values. So to get started, we're going to say from Flask import Flask. Alright, and then from Flask Restful import API and resource. And then in this particular app, I'm just going to use the Samick Charty Python Binance package to return some cryptocurrency prices. You might do whatever, but this is what I'm going to do. So from Binance client import client. Boy, really giving me a hard time on those autocorrects right now. But the first thing we need to do is say app equals flask underscore underscore name underscore underscore, and then API equals API app. Alright. Now we're going to define our class object here, which I'm going to call prices, and it is a resource. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to say our GET request. We're going to pass it, well, first we're going to pass it self, then we're going to pass it a list of symbols that we want to return prices on. Client equals client none. This is from the Binance Python. This is if you're going to try to go to an authenticated endpoint, you'd enter your API keys here, but we're not. So I'm going to say prices equals client get all tickers, return values equals currently an empty array. And then we're going to say for X currency pair in enumerate prices, if currency pair of symbol in symbols return values dot append, let's currency pair of symbol and currency pair of price. Oop. Boy, hard time making that a string. Alright, and then ultimately we're just going to say return values. Alright, so a little sloppy, but we got there. And then the last things we're going to need to do is we need to add our resource to our API. So API.add resource, and we're going to add prices, and then we're going to define our endpoint where we can go ahead and make our request to. And then last but not least, we just need to tell our app to run. app.run, and then I'm going to say I'm going to find it on port 5000. Okay, so that should pretty well be that part of it. Over here we'll just import request. We'll say a list of cryptocurrency symbols. So say ETH BTC. Let's go with XRP BTC. And then BTC USDT. How about that? Our URL, we're just going to make this an F string. And since we're at the local host right now, we'll just go ahead and enter that along with our port. And then we said we could pass it to the symbols endpoint. And we'll go ahead and pass our symbols now. And then r equals request.get URL. Data equals r.json. And then we're going to go ahead and print out our data. So that looks like everything we need. Let's go over here and start up our app. So we have our app.py. It's fired up, we're running. And then we'll go here, and hopefully if all goes well, we'll get some return values of cryptocurrency prices. So there we are. The last thing I'll show you quickly is if you're in an instance where you need to, say, pass multiple values, then we'll just say you're going to pass something else. And since we want to return it, we'll put it there. And we're going to go ahead and define where that's coming from. So we save that. And then we'll say here something else equals hello world. We'll say we got a query string which equals the string of symbols plus and plus something else. And then last but not least, we'll just switch this out for our query string. Save that. We're going to go back over here. We're going to close our app. We'll restart it. It's up and running. And then we'll pass our values in here. And now we see that we get hello world as a return value as well. So should you need to return multiple values, there you go. But for now, I'm going to cut this video. And in part 2, we'll go through the Google VM instance. If you guys have ever any questions about things you'd like to see in Python or Google Sheets or server maintenance elsewhere, please let me know in a comment below, and I'll be happy to make a video for you. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you in part 2.